Welcome back to Morning Express. It's now 8:30, and with me in studio, in case you're joining us now, is the Governor for Nairobi, Dr. Kidero, and we're talking about matters Nairobi and also why he should be given a second chance. For those of you who have written in on social media, I'll be coming to your questions shortly, so keep them coming. The hashtag is Morning Express KTN, or you can also tweet at KTN News or tweet me directly. That's at Michael G. Gitonga. When we took the break, Dr. Kidero, we're talking about transport. Has the county government considered having an integrated system where we try and decongest the CBD? We are coming from an era where everything happened within the CBD, and that probably is part of our problem why we have so much traffic with everybody trying to get into the CBD. However, if you look at the behavior of majority of our drivers, they come into the CBD, park, leave their cars there, and leave at 5. If we had a good system, transport system that is efficient, reliable, you can count on, majority possibly would either not own cars or need to bring them into the city.
Mike, before we took a break, we talked about the bus rapid transit system or mass rapid transit system. But that's probably long term. As part of the decongestion, we've built bus stations and bus parks. Bus parks out of the city. You know, we've done one in Gara, one on Mombasa Road, one on Park Road, where we are migrating the buses, and the rehabilitation of Mudhurwa is complete. The only problem with this is that, you know, during the rains, when it rains, people having to walk all the way to where the bus parks or the bus stops are becomes a little bit of an issue. And in our new licensing system, we'll be doing cross city, like if you come from Uthiru, you go all the way to Komorok, or you don't terminate in the city. And then we limit the amount of time that probably one can be in the city. The third, which will be part of the integrated bus rapid transit system, is creation where people come and left outside the city. Then you have the big capacities coming into the city and across the city. But that will require an integrated payment system. You know, the Matatus tried to do it, you know, the cashless system. And it was a bit of a challenge. But it's part of the laws that is coming in it's part of the regulations which will be part of the Nairobi Metropolitan Transport Authority.
Okay. Now, under your watch, the payment for parking within the CBD moved from 70 shillings to 140 to 300. Yet, we cannot correlate that change in price to any service given by the county government. What difference does it make?
If anything is cheaper, because previously people used to pay 50 shillings an hour. In 8 hours, it was 400 shillings. But we said, no, I mean, instead of 50 shillings an hour, make it 300 shillings per day. And then you can park anywhere in the system. If anything, the system is cheaper than what it was before, because it's 300 shillings.
But it used to be 70 shillings, then it moved to 140, still where you are parking per day. But now in terms of service, what is it, what can the county government tell us? For this amount of money, this is what we're giving you, because parking is still not available.
I mean, we keep the roads,
no security.
We keep the roads clean, we maintain the roads. You don't see the kind of potholes you used to see before. And even on comparative terms, I mean, 300 shillings is $3. Where else in the whole world would you park in a city for $3 per day?
Well, for Kenyans, they'll still say that's very expensive, because not many can afford to park that much, especially given if there's a commensurate service. For instance, you're guaranteed of security for your car. Maybe the city is kept clean. Maybe you're guaranteed of parking. If I pay that 300 shillings, then I'm guaranteed of parking. That is not the case.
There are two options. You can either get, a long-term parking, which would assure you that you'll always get parking outside you, but that's a little bit more expensive. But security on parking is much better than it was before. You don't get vehicles being broken into the way they used to do before. You remember there used to be a lot of boys who keep, a lot of people would keep, you come, you give them your car keys, and they park it for you. And you're not too sure of what will happen to your car when you're away, when you've parked. And security for the vehicles that are parked is much better than it was before. The city center roads are much in a much better position
But
than they were
is
before.
the security better because the county government has made it better, or is that just
Because the county government has made it better.
What has been put in place in terms of
Because
security?
we've got a lot more traffic parking marshals. We've got a lot more of our security people on the road.
On the road.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to another challenge within the city, and this is to do with accommodation and housing. And so far, apart from buildings that have come down, which maybe you'll give us an answer to what the county government is doing so far. This has happened severally, and hopefully it has been taken care of now. Can we confidently say it has been taken care of?
So the buildings coming down?
Yes, the buildings may be coming down because of poor workmanship and possibly flaunting of, county government laws.
Mike, the problem, most of the buildings that have come down were never approved buildings. They were never approved by the county government. And we would say up to 45% of buildings in Nairobi have never been approved. You remember the building that came down near OTC, the Sunbeam building, two buildings that came down in Huruma, the recent one which came down in Kware. These were never approved building. And we realized that the reason why people were not bringing their drawings for approvals is because they did not have title deeds. So we approved what you call a regularization bill, which allows you, because a number of people bought land from land buying companies. So if you bought land from land buying companies and that you had a share certificate, we can allow you to use that, of course, after consultation, to allow you to bring drawings which we can approve and provide supervision. Also, we've enhanced the provision of title deeds like Mbakasi Ranching, like Sheko, like Njiru, Dandora, and most of them were always in the old Mbakasi area. We've also increased the number of technical inspectors who are, and I can tell you without a shadow of contradiction that all the buildings that came down were built before my tenure as governor, or my tenure at City Hall.
Okay.
So also, it used to take up to 18 months for a building to be improved. We've established what we call an e-construction system, which allows us, on the average, if you comply with everything, 30 days, maximum 60 days, you have your approval. So you'd have no need to go flouting the law because it's taking too long to get an approval system. Before I came in, we were only approving on the average about 100,000 square meters of construction space per year after 18 months. Now we are, on an annual basis, we're doing 5 million square meters of construction space every year. And on Sunday, I believe, if you read the paper, you must have seen the value of construction over the last 5 years, which has gone up more or less threefold. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that, of course, council officers would do, and maybe this would not be in your knowledge, is take advantage of people who are constructing by basically extorting. To anybody who's constructing right now, what is the procedure? Should a worker come, a council worker come and inspect the building and possibly wants to extort money? What is the procedure? Because now I know it's online. Even when you need a building, when it has been approved, they actually have an online system which they can check.
They can check, and if somebody wants to extort you, send them to your architect, because the architect is the point of contact. If there's an issue, our direction is that they should contact the architect. And if there's a violation, all they do is to give a notice, and that notice is followed by the architect. And if anybody tries to extort, there's a number. I know that when we initially came, this guy used to go out on a Friday at about lunchtime, and
Yes,
threaten with...
if you're arrested, then
you're
Monday.
until Monday.
Yeah.
But it's part of our fight against corruption. So far, we've fired. In that department alone, we fired 300 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Your government has also been accused of mass corruption and money basically finding places. What have you done to deal with corruption, and how do we deal with corruption on a county level from your experience? Now that you've been there
I
for
think,
5 years.
corruption, the best thing is to automation is the best answer. You reduce corruption by limiting manual or physical interface with processes. That's what we've done in the construction area. It has enhanced efficiency, but it has reduced corruption as well. The second one is we are automating our payment systems, the rate collection system, the car park payment system, the housing payment system, so that we limit the contact between our people and cash. That's one. Two is if people are found, if people are suspected, and if people are caught, then they are dealt with right on the spot. Though I must admit that the bureaucratic process, because they say even if you catch somebody stealing, then you have to take him to court, you have to suspend him on half pay, and it takes several years. Of course, probably by the time the case is being concluded, I will have long left City Hall and nobody even remembers what the case is. I mean, it should be allowed, like in the private sector where I came from, where evidence is evaluated, and if somebody is found not to be trustworthy, then you fire them. In government, they're saying you cannot fire somebody until he's been convicted and jailed or fined. It takes too long. When they continue enjoying, salary from the public coffers, the same people whom they've tried to defraud.
All right. Now, we recently ran a documentary called Kanjo Kingdom, which revealed to many Kenyans the amount of extortion that comes from county officers. And to many Kenyans, they were not that surprised because this is something we see every single day as we go about the streets of Nairobi. Did it get you by surprise? And out of that, what has the county government? Can you give us quantifiable results of what that Kanjo Kingdom revealed to you and possibly what you did after that?
Well, it revealed to me that, yeah, we have rotten apples within the county, but also we have people who have made IDs claiming to work for the county, and yet they don't work for the county. And we've arrested these people. The ones who work for us and were positively identified, we suspended them, and it goes
again to the court process.
To the court process, which I personally have a problem with, because I mean justice needs to be swift, because then that's when you get results. If you don't get swift justice, then it becomes pale.
What would your suggestion of dealing it with if you have a problem with that system currently? What would you just suggest is done?
I think, I mean, our public service regulations needs to be changed right from public service, so that, I mean, if it is proven beyond any reasonable doubt that somebody has been caught stealing, somebody has been caught violating the code of ethics, they get fired on the spot or with immediate effect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's also look at another area which you promised to deliver when you came into power, and this is to make Nairobi a 24-hour economy. This so far has not happened as it would have been expected. What are the challenges you possibly have faced?
Nairobi was dark when I came in. We had only 12,000 street lights that are working. I mean, so far we've put in another 50,000 street lights, so we have about 60. And in a lot of the estates, a lot of the areas where people used to work maybe up to 6 o'clock, they're now working up to 11 o'clock. I mean, if you walk across from the city center going to Ngara, you can see the beehive of activity up to 11, 12 o'clock, midnight. But I think we must look at this in a bigger context, because one of the discussions we've been having with national government was to increase the power supply of electricity. So far, the production is just about 3,000 megawatts. Consumption is 2,000 megawatts, but at night it drops to under 1,000 megawatts. So we've got idle power capacity, or in excess of 1,000 megawatts, which if we looked wholly of our production and productive system, rather than working only for 8 hours or 12 hours, we could actually be running it. in 24 hours. But you get into issues of overtime, you get into issues of labor, issues of that you have to pay double if somebody is going to work at night. So I think this is something that we need to look holistically. The second thing is the issue of pricing. There is no advantage in running at night, even though your labor cost is twice what it is during the day. I mean, we could actually start looking at the possibilities of marginal costings because you have a standard charge, an investment charge, an investment cost on your capital cost. So if you're not running, you're paying it. But if you're running it, then you can do what you call marginal costing. So make running at night, the power charges or power electricity cheaper at night cheaper, which is something that probably we've not looked at. Okay. It's a discussion I've had with the Minister of Energy, and probably is not being looked at as fast as we should.
Okay. Yeah. We only have another 5 minutes or so to go, and I want to refer to... Yeah, time moves very fast. Yeah. And I want to refer to some of the questions that are coming in. But help me understand, help Kenyans understand, Nairobians understand, why did we spend over 400 million shillings on traffic lights and traffic camera system, but still we have traffic officers manning traffic? That's something logically we would like to understand. And well, the information was that apparently there's a software that was found that maybe doesn't operate those traffic lights. Would imagine that traffic lights really should work efficiently, that we don't need traffic
wire, they work. I mean, we've got 2 control rooms, one at City Hall and one at the police headquarters on
Gong Road? Is it in Gong Road?
No, just here.
Traffic police.
Opposite Pan-Africa, not too far from Pan-Africa Hotel. And the traffic police won't just move. I tried to move them by force, and they caused a gridlock for 2 days. And
so we backed off?
We backed off because, I mean, we needed to find a more efficient method. Then also the law is a bit contradictory because the law places traffic control in the county government, but it also places with traffic police, with traffic police. But it's a discussion that we are having, and we will make sure, as we come back, that human intervention is removed and the electronic traffic control system is allowed to work, because the system is patent, the system is available. It's just for selfish interest that certain people do not want to get out of the road.
So what is it that you would do differently to make sure that they are moved? Because if you've not managed to do that now, what is it that would change?
I think we're more or less in an agreement with the traffic commandants that we will get
rid of them. Should we keep a time frame when we should expect the traffic lights to work and have no police officers there?
I think within the next 6 months, we should be able to do that.
Should be able to do that. All right. And also the Kidero grass, which was hyped up a lot. It seems to have withered, and now we are going on with another...
Yeah, but I mean, this is water. I mean, you need to water it to whatever. It doesn't make sense to water grass when you only have 29% of the total amount of water you require. I mean, criticism is easy. On one hand, you're talking about water availability. On the other hand, you just jump right across.
The issue is the cost. The issue is the cost that it costs to put that grass there. Didn't somebody have foresight to know that it'll need water? Didn't somebody know that it'll require to be maintained such that now when it is drying...
Nobody had the foresight to know that we are going to have a drought.
Okay, let me go to the questions that are coming through. And we have Patrick Gadara, who says that in 2015, the NCA Kenya said 70% of residential buildings in Nairobi were unsafe. What, if anything, has Kidero Evans done to address this?
I mean, we went around and marked all the unsafe buildings. We gave notices. And even the building which came down in Kware, you remember recently where 2 people died? They were actually marked. The building was a marked building. And what we want to appeal is all the buildings that are marked, residents, people who live in those buildings, they need to leave.
Okay. Yeah. There's somebody here who suggests that Dr. Evans Kidero speaks like one who works from the office and is not in touch with what is happening on the ground. What are your comments to that?
I'm very much on the ground. Actually, I spend more time on the ground than in the office.
Than in the office. All right.
I'm here in a tie today because you'd invited me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm told by the director we are out of time. Let me just finish with your closing comments. And yeah, just your closing comments.
I think we need to talk about safety during, security during the elections. Elections are going to be safe. We are looking forward to clean, credible, transparent election process completely devoid of violence. And we would like IBC and Minister of Interior to ensure that happens. We've had cases, we are hearing that some of the people are running away from the city because they think we are going to have the problems we had in 2008. And as the governor, I want to assure everybody that all will be done to ensure that everybody is secure and safe. So there's no need to leave the city. Stay on, exercise your constitutional right to cast your vote and elect the person of your choice. And for the governorship of Nairobi, I believe it will be me because, as I said, that one, I've got passion for this city. I love this city. I love Nairobians. I would like to see Nairobi prosper. And I am practical, I'm credible, I'm predictable, I'm dependable, and I'm reliable.
All right. Well, that's where we'll wind up this interview. Thank you very much, Dr. Evans Kidero, for joining us this morning. And, well, that's where we wind up the show this morning. Thank you very much for joining us right here on Morning Express. And we'll take this opportunity to wish you all a fantastic and a wonderful day. Do stay with us, though. We've got Worldview coming up in just a few minutes. Akisa Wandera will be taking you around the world in 60 minutes. God bless.